This should be good. Come through.
Yep, you just popped up.
Con. Hey, shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Brothers of Great Millstone, Charlotte, coming with another live lesson through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai. First and foremost, we want to start by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. And peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, pushing this word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Hey, so yeah, as you can see, by the title, the masquerade is over, man. And we'll get the definition of that word masquerade, but it's pretty much, all things are being brought to the light, right? There's nothing that's being hidden, right? Prophecy is overturning every rock, right? It's shining light on every facet of life. Every person in this world is being shown for who they truly are, right? And these things are going to intensify, right, as these days continue on, man.
That's right.
And like that, the days of people being able to hide or have these alternate personas, be able to hide things in the dark, right? That's long gone,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, think
No, just like you were saying, bro, the Lord is bringing all things to light. All right, the Spirit is revealing all things. So, pretty much what we're going into is how Yahweh Shem Shai is exposing everything, man. Okay, and it's all being done through the Spirit and power of His Word, man.
Okay.
So, you said you want to start at verse 1?
Yeah, we can get that definition first, and then we'll get
Okay,
that.
calm. Um, I grabbed this in the free dictionary for the definition of masquerade. It says a disguise or a false outward show, a pretense, and it says an involved scheme or charade, and it says to go about as if in disguise, have or put on a deceptive appearance.
Right. All the deception, right? All the false sincerity, right? The false prophets, right? And all the things that we see coming out about them day in and day out, all these other camps teaching off doctrines, right? The actions of these men out here, even going into people in the world, right? People pretending to live a certain lifestyle, right, that they clearly can't. People putting on a facade, putting on this charade, right, as if they're in a certain steed when it's clear and being made more and more clear, right? That, like you mentioned before while we were talking, that covering cast, right? That veil is being ripped away, man. Right? You're being proven as what you are, and ultimately we want to be proven as those servants of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man.
Right. Because just how, we're going into the exposure. Look, Babylon, as the scriptures talk about, it's been portrayed as this golden city. All right. It's being exposed that this place is nothing more than a cesspool of wickedness, man. All right. As the scriptures, go into Babylon, pretty much being destroyed. It first started with the covering cast, being, taken off of this place, man. If I can grab it real quick while you wanted to speak real quick, I'm gonna look for that.
Okay.
You got it.
Yeah, everything about this, all the dirty laundry, the dirty little secrets that they work so hard to keep out of the public eye are being brought to the light, man.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be, the child sex trafficking rings, the various drugs, the witchcraft in general,
Mm-hmm.
all these things, the all the dots or all the lines are connected, man.
Khan. This is Isaiah 25:7. And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people and the veil that is spread over all nations. And this is what we're speaking of, man. Okay, because that covering cast that Esau Edom, the so-called white man, has put over the whole world is that that he is the chosen seed of Yahweh Shem Shai. He's God's chosen people. All right, that Babylon the Great is this great glorious kingdom to where all nations covered to be over here. But what is being found out that number one, you so-called white people, all right, you are the biblical Edomites also known as the wicked in the scriptures, and that this place, Babylon the Great, is your kingdom that you are using to perpetuate wickedness throughout the whole earth. And the point being that, look, the Lord has pretty much prophesied that he has numbered this place and found it wanting, which is going to lead to its destruction. All right, because in this quote unquote golden city, the Lord has found out all the secrets, like it was going into the sex trafficking rings, the child sacrifice, the human sacrifice period. All right, the blatant Satanism. All right, because what we're finding out that this place, all right, which another name for America is the mother of harlots. All right, has remnants of different kingdoms and their idols mixed all throughout this place, man. So it's all type of demonic, spirits and activities being done in the secret here, man. Okay, but the Lord is now bringing these things to light through His men, the prophets, man.
Mm-hmm. Hey, that covering cast was meant to keep everybody in the dark on everything, man.
Exactly.
As as a covering to try to protect him from his true identity being brought forth, his true intentions being brought forth, right? His true history being brought forth, and the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai is destroying all those strongholds. That's why we see them moving with haste right now, because they know this is their last opportunity while they have the enchantments at a level, right, that can still affect the people, man.
Yeah, because you still got in 2025 idiots out there that still think this is the greatest country in the world, that that the government will never do anything to harm the people, where it's been a buku of facts, documents, research and different things that have been exposed of how the government has declared war on the American population. All right. You have something where you could look up, just bring this out, called the I want to say is the Masonic Creed. If I'm saying it correctly, but in that saying, Esau literally will tell you exactly how they declared war on the people, how they talked about they're putting metals in the foods, all right, how they're pretty much killing the people slowly. These are things that people to this day will refute and deny harshly, but more and more people are becoming to realize that these things are actually true, which further prove the point that Esau Edom is the devil. All right, the so-called white people, you are the devil that the Bible speaks of, so much so that even your own technology is telling on you. Like I just saw the video earlier today, the Elder Monatazak did the video to where even Chat GPT know that the Edomites are the so-called white race, man. Okay, the dude that he showed the video of was this Jake, conversing with Chat GPT, and he used Chat GPT to draw the correlations from the Edomites to the Roman Empire to the ruling elites of today. All right, it said that the Edomites must come from the European descendants, which is who? The so-called white race, man. So even his own AI is exposing him. So the Lord is completely took off that covering cast over this whole world, man.
That's it. God. If we can get that Luke.
Con. This is Luke chapter 12. Matter of fact, before I get that, Baba Kushad, could you get Isaiah 60, 1 and 2? Because that will preface before we about to go into this.
Okay, I got you. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, and verse 1. Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee.
Right, and as we know, that light is speaking of the spirit of Yahweh Shai, all right, that has come and risen upon the elect. All right, the true believers have now been illuminated and enlightened, all right, to the spirit of Yahweh by Shem Shai. So now we have been given the eyesight to see all the wickedness that has been done in the dark. Go ahead.
For behold, it's like for behold, darkness shall cover the whole earth. It's like for behold, darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people.
Right, and that darkness is that confusion, all right, that spell that Esau Edom has put over the whole earth to where people can't see what's actually going on. All right. But through the light being put, inside of us, we now have seen this because the Lord has turned us into children of the night. We're no longer children of the night, man. All right. We're children of the daytime. So therefore we see everything that's being done. So that's why the spirit, had us go into the lesson dealing with how the masquerade is over because how like you look in the world, how do you know when the party's over? When the lights come on.
Exactly.
Same thing. The party's over,
Exactly.
Esau.
That's right. Continuing on. It reads, "But the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee."
And that is being shown now because as you have the believers waking up and beginning to stand upon their feet and call out this man for all the wickedness being done, this shows you that Yahweh Shem Shai is beginning to turn the tides on the wicked and how he's putting the righteous all right in the power seat. All right, it starting with us being in that power seat spiritually, but soon come it's going to be actual physically, man.
Right.
Okay.
Con. Hey, and like it said, the his glory shall be seen upon thee. The elect are reflections of Yahweh Bashem Shai. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So while we're in this world, we do what? We reflect that light out into the world. Right? The scriptures talk about who will stand up against the workers of iniquity.
I got
Right?
that for you. I got
God,
it for
God,
you. Who shall stand up for me against the evildoers?
God, God, God.
Uh, this is Psalms 94 and 16. Who will rise up for me against the evildoers, or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity?
Right. And that's what the elect are doing. Right? We're standing right in the steed through the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Shai in the steed of the Heavenly Father and His Son, man. Right? And that light is shining upon us and it's being shined through us into the whole earth. And it's exposing everything, man. The
Mm-hmm.
foundations of everything. So now there's no excuse, for ignorance, right? Because all these things are being sought up.
Mm-hmm. Because it's to the point to where when you actually see things for what it is, like one of my favorite movies to reference, dealing with this topic is that movie They Live, dealing with Roddy Piper. All right, because in that movie he had found those glasses, and when he put those glasses on, he was able to see the world for what it was, and what he saw was that the world was being governed by it looked like demons or aliens or whatever you want to call them, and how they pretty much have enslaved the whole world to where the advertisements, the money is obey, consume, reproduce. These things are being done in today's time. Like the same advertisement that you saw in They Live is the same thing is being pushed on us in today's time, man. All right.
Exactly.
So everything that we're seeing, the more and more that we look at these things, the more and more we see that this whole place is riddled with witchcraft, man. All right, it's riddled with Satanism and everything. And these people that run the world, these are real life evil, wicked individuals that truly are the descendants of Satan, man.
Yep,
Okay,
that's it. God.
I got you that Luke. This is Luke chapter 12 and 1. In the meantime, when there were gathered together an innumerable multitude of people, insomuch that they trode one upon another, he he began to say unto his disciples, first of all, beware ye of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy.
Right. So, just to make the point on false prophets, right? It's telling you to be aware of the message that these men speak, man. Right? Because they're adding things of their own volition, right? They're not speaking in the truth of the spirit, man. Right?
That's
They're
right.
speaking on their own accord, right, with their own hearts in mind. Not the mind of Yahweh Bashim Shai. So it's saying to beware of these things, right? Because it's leaven, right? And that leaven ultimately is what causes people to fall away, right? Because they're not completely separated from the ways of this world. The scriptures talk about how ye are your father, the devil, and it's because they adopt these same practices and techniques, right, that we see Esau Edom has done, right, to perpetuate this deception, man. To get the minds of the people, right, and to have you to stray away.
That's right. That's right. Verse 2. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known.
Right. So Esau's motives and intentions and works are all being sought out, right? These false prophets, these other camps, right? These reprobate Israelites, all their works are being sought out and brought out, man. Right? Because they're being made an example for the believers, man. You know, seeing all these things happen in the body is proof of the power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Because that's the only reason why these things are being brought to light, right? It's to show forth, the hypocrisy of men, right? To show forth the wicked devices that they have set forth, all these things of that nature, man.
Mm-hmm. One for you. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and 14.
Mm-hmm.
For Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
God, you got
Kind. So as I said, the Lord is bringing every work into judgment. So all the works of men that you just spoke of, the Lord is going to bring into judgment, whether it be good or bad, because what's being done. Baba Kushai, grab Hebrews 4 and 12 real quick and reading the NLT.
God.
This word is exposing men's true heart. Okay, because before we understood the true understanding of the Bible, you couldn't we had indication that the so-called white man was the devil, but we couldn't really put it for what it was, man. All right, we could just speak on the atrocities that he done to us as a people. All right, but
Right.
then the way that the people would negate it was like, well, everybody does evil, you know. But then once we started, good get into the scriptures and going into the description of what the wicked will be doing in the earth, that lets us know for a surety that Esau, the so-called white man, has to be the devil that the Bible speaks of, because all the attributes that the wicked have, according to the scriptures, fits this man. Okay, and what he would be doing, how he will be ruling in the end days, all point to show you that this nigga is the devil, man.
Exactly. Exactly. It's Hebrews chapter 4 and 12 in the NLT. For the word of the Most High is alive and powerful, and is sharper than the sharpest two-edged sword, cutting between soul and spirit, between joint and marrow. It exposes our innermost thoughts and desires.
And that's what is going on. Since the word of the Lord has went out on a mass scale, like we see through the internet, all right, the motives and true feelings of everybody, not just the Edomites, but of everybody, is being exposed. So, like we just read here in Ecclesiastes 12 and 14, the Most High is going to bring every work into judgment with every secret thing. So, the Lord is going to bring your innermost thoughts and feelings to the forefront when it comes to how you truly feel about His word. Because what is being done is that the prophets are presenting Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai unto you people, and you either accept the Lord or you deny him. And if you deny him, then the Lord is going to judge you for you turning your back on him. Specifically talking to you tribes, all right? Because you heathen, you're finished regardless, man. But you tribes out here, all right, the Lord is gonna show if you truly believe in him or not, man. All right. And if you don't, then like I said, man, that's going to be shown. And it's going to be shown through how you react. I see all these videos of these scoffers talking shit about the Hebrew Israelites, how these people came into the truth, and then once they found out what the Bible was really about, they became offended, and they renounced their heritage, man. They renounced the God of the Bible, man. Everything is being brought to the forefront. So the faking, and all that is coming to an end, man. Because this is what you see because of Christianity in the world, is that these people were able to frolic and fake their way into making people believe that they believed in God, but they really don't. These people really hate the Most High, and they love Satan, man, because Satan wants you to be rebellious, man. He wants you to be against the Most High, man. And a lot of you people are showing you are taken by him, man. Okay.
God. Hey, those whited sepulchres, right? But within a dead man's bones, the
Mm,
majority of these people out here embody that, right? And even to a lesser extent, because they don't even, put the facade on of being an Israelite, you know. So they're just claiming that what's it, cultural Christianity, you
yep.
know. They put that mask on, right? They they go out here in the world and have this facade of righteousness, but on the inside, behind the mask, they're just as wicked as anybody else out here, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You quoted I believe that was what John was it John 8:44. You are your
Uh,
father the devil.
mm-hmm.
You know, Can you bring that out real quick? I want to make a point on that
Uh,
because that's part of the true heart and intent of the people being exposed is showing the spirit you coming in. You know.
uh, so John 8:44, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do.
Hmm.
He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth.
Now we know the original context of this verse. Yahweh Shah was speaking unto Israelites. All right. So, a lot of you Jakes out here, you are of the fault of your father, the devil. You have taken on the ways of the biblical Edomites, the devil. All right, the so-called white man, and you have embodied his spirit within you, and you act as such, man. So you really are a byproduct of the devil. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
you even can apply this to the so-called white man because a lot of you quote unquote Christians, mainly being you so-called white Christians, you have put this facade on that you Christians are like the standard of the most high in the earth. But when it comes down to it, like I said earlier, when the Bible in its entirety is brought unto you, what is found out is you hate the Bible. As we saw when Putin opened up the vaults and brought out the true images of Yahweh Shai and the people of the book, and what happened? Hey, you denounced the scriptures. You burned them. You didn't. You couldn't fathom the idea that your precious Jesus Christ was a so-called black man. That ruined a lot of you white Christians' faith, man. And some
Exactly.
of you niggas, because a lot of you niggas you hate that fact too, because you have what you call a self-hatred.
Right.
You know.
That's it. It says, because there was no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it.
Yeah, and you Jakes have took on lies to yourself. Like that precept. I forget. I think it's in Sirach where it talks about our fathers have inherited lies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, you Jakes have been given a false reality that you cling to. Like I always reference the Matrix. The Matrix is a beautiful depiction of what we go through right now. Another good movie. I gotta actually watch it. I just seen clips of it. The Truman Show. You Jakes out here, you have a false perception of reality, which is why you move like you're still in this, and you're like in a party, man. Just referencing the title of the lesson, okay? Because the masquerade, that's a party, all right, but it's a fake party because at the end of the day, once the lights come on and you see, what's really in the room, man, you in a room full of trannies, you in a room full of fucking, weirdos, the devil worshippers, and you like, yo, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of you just like, hey, when in Rome, right? But hey, if you in the spirit, you're supposed to get the fuck out of there, man. Because you see, nah, I'm not supposed to be here, man. You
Exactly.
know?
I got that precept for you. It's
Mm-hmm.
Jeremiah 16:19. O Lord, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit.
Yeah, because a lot of us, when we came into the truth, we realized that we were worshiping, fake religions. All right, Christianity was based off a lie.
Yep.
Okay, because who the world ignorantly calls God and Jesus Christ aren't they're not so-called white men. That's not even their names. All right. The whole tenet of Christianity is based on a lie. The virgin birth, Easter and all. None of that is true when it comes to the scriptures, man. And a lot of Jakes, all right, have such a heavy case of Stockholm syndrome and cognitive dissonance to where
Mm-hmm.
when these things are revealed onto them, it's too much. Like their head explodes, man, because they can't take the truth, man. You know. But at the same time, you got these devils hearing the same thing, and they can't take it either, man. Hey, if you're not of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, the truth is it will destroy you. You have to have the spirit of the Lord to be able to hear and hold in this truth in its entirety. Otherwise, you'll go mad, man.
Exactly. Precept for you. This is Isaiah 28:15. Because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us, for we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves.
You got it.
And that's that covering, man. Right? They've made lies their protection. Right? They've made falsehood their covering. They're hiding behind all of these things. But what comes to combat that is the truth. You know? That's why they hit us with the disinformation, so called. That's why they have different censorship, acts and things of that nature coming to pass. Because the truth is the only thing that can destroy a foundation of lies. You can't hide. You can hide lies on top of lies, but as soon as truth gets introduced, that foundation gets more and more shaky. Day by day. You know. Um, what was it? I wanted to get something real quick.
You got it.
Oh, because you made mention of how these people hate the Lord, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is that John 8:44 in the NLT. For you are the children of your father the devil, and you love to do the evil things he does. He was a murderer from the beginning. He has always hated the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he lies, it is consistent with his character, for he is a liar and the father of lies. So this is who these people, are characterized by. This is the nature that they embody, right? Those who hate the truth, those who, those who are liars in every shape, form, or fashion, man. Right? There's no truth in them. There's no light in them ultimately, man. Right? They're in that gross darkness as we read. And they love it so, because staying in the darkness allows you to keep hiding or so called hiding, your faults and your flaws, and all the misdeeds that you've done. You don't have to show no record of it or take responsibility for it, man.
Yep, got that right for you. This is St. John chapter 3, verse 19. It says, "And this is the condemnation, that light is coming to the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because
Mm-hmm.
their deeds were evil."
Exactly. Right. Could you get that word condemnation?
Come pull up my phone. One second.
Uh, yep. Because their deeds are evil, man. These people love the darkness, right? They love to have that mask on. You see Jay walking around with the shiesty mask on all day long, man.
Right.
Right? That's an embodiment of that, man. Right? They love the masquerade. They love to pretend, right, as if they're somebody else, because being their real self is too much to bear, right? Because they have to actually do that inward search,
Yeah, because that's really a show for the inward. Because truthfully, all these niggas wear a mask. A lot of them, we just don't see it physically, but every majority of the people that we deal with, they have masks on, man.
Yep.
Because they don't deal with reality. The people that they interact with, they don't show them their true selves. People don't really be them true selves until they get behind the goddamn keyboard and they can talk their shit behind their phones. But when they're out and amongst the everyday people, they don't they have they have a mask on, man. Because at the end of the day, when this light is presented, okay, it exposes everything. But you said that word condemnation. This is G29 and 20 uh creases. It says judgment, opinion, or decision concerning anything concerning justice and injustice, right or wrong, sentence of condemnation, damnatory judgment, condemnation and punishment, uh, the College of Judges, a tribunal of 7 men in the several cities of Palestine, as distinguished from the Sanhedrin, which had its seat at Jerusalem.
That's pretty much the point. That it's just
Right.
judgment, man. You know, there's no judgment, or actually, rather, there's wrong judgment, right? Therefore, wrong judgment proceeded, right,
Mhm.
in the earth, man. I was talking to Jake on the job, and he said, I don't know what he said, but the point I made was like, bro, there's not enough people don't judge each other enough. That's why everybody thinks they can get away with anything. That's why you see people, right, with the mindset as if everything is okay, nothing is taboo anymore, right? Because
Right.
nobody's being judged. You know, there's no shame anymore, right?
Mhm.
People aren't embarrassed of anything anymore, right?
Mhm.
Because Esau has pushed the culture of acceptance, you know,
Right.
or so-called acceptance. They want you to accept the things they want you to accept.
It's forcible acceptance.
Right,
Because
exactly.
if you don't agree with something, they'll fucking demonize you to the point to where you have no choice but to just be like, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
man. I'm with, because that's like it's that stupid ass trend that was going on like the last couple months. We listen, but we don't judge.
Right.
Nah, you're supposed to judge, man. That Tupac spirit has took over the world that only God could judge me. No, judging is important, but the thing about it, what is lacking is true judgment. Because
Right.
a lot with the people that judge here, they judge off appearance, you know. Because like how you gonna judge in the dark, you know?
Exactly.
Hey, judge like just the amount of Jake that get railroaded in the judicial system. That's a place of darkness because that's not true judgment being put in there, man. You know, because if all the details were brought to the light, then a lot of these false judgments that get brought out will get overturned because the evidence will present itself to show that this man was he was innocent.
Mm-hmm.
Like using a worldly example was trendy at the moment. You had this situation with that nigga Tory Lanez, man. All right, he had got locked up for quote unquote shooting Megan Thee Stallion, but then it came out yesterday that the friend's bodyguard came out and said that the bitch shot her friend shot her. He took the fall for her. All right. Hey, speak real quick, bro. I shall call me.
Kaka. Let me get this real quick. So Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 26 it reads, "And I will restore thy judges as at the first, and thy counselors as at the beginning. Afterward thou shalt be called the city of righteousness and the faithful city." But the point is, true judges are going to be restored in the earth. The Lord is using the prophets, right? The hopeful elect of the 144,000, right, to be those judges, to set forth the order of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai in the earth underneath Yahweh Shai, man. You know, and that going back to that light being shined. You know, so let's go. We'll go back to that Luke 12:1. In the meantime, well, I'll start back in 2. It says, "For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid, and shall not be known." Right? So everything is being exposed, everything is being brought to light. You know, it says, "Therefore, whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light, and that which ye have spoken in the ear in the closets shall be proclaimed upon the housetops," because the Lord hears everything, man. You know,
Man.
you might be able to fool us to an extent, right? But the Lord hears it all, and He's gonna make sure it makes its way out, right, if need be, right? That's why we
Mhm.
had the Alizar situation, right?
Yep.
That's why we have the things going on with IUIC, right? Because we're not in those circles, right? They could do all these things, and we have no idea. But it's the Lord that's allowing these things to be brought to light, man. Right? Even these, you see what's going on with things like the WEF, right? There was meetings in Davos, right? All the Bilderberg meetings. These things get brought to light because the Lord needs these things to be pushed to the forefront, man.
Con precept for you. This is Sirach chapter 23 and 19. Such a man only feareth the eyes of men,
Mm-hmm.
and knoweth not that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men and considering the most secret parts. Because, like you're just going into, all right, we don't have to sit here and be amongst all these different, councils and congregations to know that wickedness is going on because the Lord has his angels that's taking everything down, man. There's another
Yep.
precept in the Chronicles talks about how the eyes of the Lord, go to and fro in the earth. All
Mm-hmm.
right, pretty much because the angels are with they're beholding everything, man. They're seeing it. They're hearing the thoughts that's being spoken and even thought, and they're sending it back to the heavenly Father. That's why I said what you was talking about earlier. Everything that's being brought out, the true intention of these people are being brought out. This is how these people get exposed. This is why Alazar got exposed like that, man. This is why them guys over at Genesis the stuff going on in IUIC, ISUPK, and even amongst the world. All these things are being brought to light because Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah is bringing these things out. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing hidden no more, man. All right, which lets us know that we're at the end. All right, this thing is pretty much close to being a curtain call, man. Because with the amount of truth that's going out in the earth right now, man, Esau has no choice but to bring that hammer down because his back is against the wall, man. Because he's like, yo, how are these men knowing exactly what I'm doing and even telling me I'm gonna do these things before I do them, man? Because the Spirit of the Lord is using us as vessels, all right, to condemn your wicked ass and the rest of you fucking wicked people on the earth, man, especially of our nation, man.
Exactly. Exactly. I got that for you right here. This First Chronicles, oops, like Second Chronicles 16 and verse 9. For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth, to show himself strong in behalf of them whose heart is perfect toward him.
Man, yeah,
God.
this is going to show you that hey, the Lord sees all, hears all, and hey, you can't hide from the Lord.
Yep.
He sees you and he's telling you he's seeing you because hey, add to that, this is Luke 1:70. It says, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began. All right. So he's exposing you through his mouth, which is the mouthpiece of Yahweh Shem Shai as his men. Okay, which is always used since the beginning, since Genesis. When you read it, when Adam was approached and it said by the voice of the Lord, that wasn't talking about the Yahweh. That was talking about a prophet. All right, because it was prophets even back then. All right. And hey, just as much as you're trying to hide, you can't hide. All right. The Lord has seen you, and now He's exposing you through His mouth, man. So it shows you the omnipotency of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. This thing is heavy. Okay.
Uh,
You want to finish out this John 3?
where are we at?
I just read 18. We got a couple more verses in that.
No, you go. Yeah.
All right. So going back to St. John 3, and I'm gonna read 17 again. It says, "For Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai sent not his son." Oh, sorry, verse 18, 19. And this is the condemnation that light is come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. And this is why you having so many people bucking up against this word because they're being reproved, and like you were saying, because they lack accountability, they want to throw what's wrong on us. Like we're the problem. When in actuality it's you people that's the problem. Because if you acknowledge your offenses and would turn your ways back into your how about Shem Shai, you will understand the Lord is doing this. Everything in the earth is being done for the benefit of the Israelites, man. Okay, we had to go through this for the purpose of us seeing why the Lord's law, statute, commandments are needed in the earth, man. We had to see this devil, completely turn the world upside down and make wickedness the standard in the earth, so that we know this is why. All right, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai has he has things written for a reason. We need this reminder constantly, day in, day out. The things that we go through in our daily lives, man, the stuff that we're seeing taking place from these other bug outs, man. These things are a must need for us to see to show us where we erred at, man. Okay? Because we are supposed to be, the next ruling class, all right, that's going to rule in the kingdom after this one. We had to know wickedness on a high because we already had righteousness on the high. That's what when Adam when he was ruling, and even going to when King Solomon had his 40 years of peace, man. So we had a sample, but we had to know wickedness on a high level, like what we're seeing now, man. All right, so we're at a point to like I made mention earlier. I quoted that Daniel. All right, matter of fact, can we get that? The Lord said he that hand appeared and numbered Babylon. I want to say that's the 4th chapter.
One second.
Daniel 5:24 down to 27.
God. This is Daniel chapter 5 and verse 24. Then was the part of the hand set from him, and the writing was written. And
And
this,
matter of fact, okay, so speaking about the masquerade, right? Let's jump up to start at 22 because
mm,
Belshazzar was having a party.
God.
It's like say we're going into the topic. So let's speak on that.
So Daniel chapter 5 and verse 22. And thou, his son, O Belshazzar, hast not humbled thine heart, though thou knewest all of this, but hast lifted up thyself against the Lord of heaven. And they have brought the vessels of his house before thee, and thou and the Lord's thy wives and thy concubines have drunk wine in them, and thou hast praised the powers of silver and gold, of brass, iron, wood, and stone, which see not, nor hear, nor know, and the Most High, in whose hand thy breath is, and whose are all thy ways, hast thou not glorified.
Right. So a Belshazzar was having a grand old party,
Yep.
full of idolatry. And are we not seeing that being done in today's time? All right, the people of affluence of today, are they not doing the same thing when you go into these Hollywood parties? All right, the Jake, when they start getting up into them levels to where they're rubbing elbows with these elite Edomites of society, it's nothing but idolatry and wickedness being done in those parties, man. Okay, go ahead. So then that's America as a whole, because even on a
Mm,
small scale, hey, when we was in the world, we was amongst the same shit. Jake go out, to a bar, or not bar, well, bar club, house party, block party. Hey, those are full of idolatry too, because that's the spirit of Bacchus amongst all that shit, man. You
yep.
know,
Okay. Verse 24. Then was the part of the hand sent from him, and the writing was written. And this is the writing that was written. Many, many tekel upharsin. This is the interpretation of the thing. Many, the Most High has numbered thy kingdom and finished it.
hmm
Tekel, thou art weighed in the balances and art found wanting.
right. So, what happened was in the middle of their party, it was a hand that appeared and wrote a message on the wall. And when you go into that, it says many, many tekel upharsin. It says many. This is the interpret many. The Most High has numbered thy kingdom and finished it. Tekel, thou art weighed in the balance and found wanting. And when you look up that word wanting, it means lacking. And lacking in what? Like you quoted earlier, I believe that's Habakkuk 1 and 4. Can you grab that real quick?
Mm-hmm.
This place is lacking in true justice and true righteousness, man, and true judgment. Okay.
Uh, so, it's the book of Habakkuk, chapter 1 and verse 4. Therefore, the law is slacked, and judgment doth never go forth.
Right. Judgment doeth never go forth, man. So this place is full of injustice and wickedness, because Yahweh Shem Shai's ways are not being upheld here, man. And so because of that, the Most High pronounced judgment, just like he did during this time in Babylon on Belshazzar, man. Because right after this event happened, what happened? The Persians came in and pretty much took the Babylonians down, man. And this actual event happened in today's time, man, because those elites, when they was messing with their CERN machine, actually saw this same message written in that machine, man. you know so Yahweh Shem Shai has pronounced judgment on this place, and which is why he has the men of the Lord out here on the highways and byways, all right, telling this devil to his face that, look, the masquerade is over, man. Hey, you are going down, man. Judgment is going to be brought to your doorstep, man. Okay, and if
Mm-hmm.
you Jakes that are amongst this society don't repent, all right, you're going to be thrust through with this man.
Exactly. Continuing on, it reads, For the wicked doth compass about the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceedeth.
Right, and you Jakes are enveloped in wickedness because you refuse to acknowledge the light. Because as we read in Saint John earlier, you don't want to pretty much be held accountable for your wickedness. As this light is shining upon you, it's certain things that the Lord is bringing forth out of us, that needs to be dealt with, that needs to be quenched. All right, that needs to be done. The old man gotta die. The old woman gotta die, man. You gotta be changed into a new creature that Yahweh Shem Shah can mold and eventually use for his purpose, man. All right, but a lot of our people don't want to do that because they're being in the darkness, man. That's more appeasing to them because you think you're getting away, but you're not. The Lord is taking account of every wicked thing that you're doing, man. Yeah, we're on the grace. Yeah, but the grace doesn't give you, pretty much I forgot how it's worded. It doesn't give you an excuse to
Right.
continue to be wicked, man. You know,
Right.
like scripture talk about a righteous man falls 7 times, but he get it back up, roughly paraphrasing, man. Hey, we're striving to do better. All right. But niggas want to continue to be niggas, man. As you're seeing, the Jake has devolved to the point to where you got YNs, YMBs, you got ONs and OMBs, man. Old niggas, young niggas, young nigga bitches, old nigga bitches. It's Jake is unrecognizable to you. How about Shem Shai, man? All right.
Exactly.
This is why at the end of the day, man, you niggas want to stay in this place, man. You will be destroyed here with this place and this devil, man. All
That's it.
right.
Just real quick, this Galatians 5:13. For brethren, ye have been called into liberty. Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh, but to love and serve one another.
Mm-hmm.
So like you may mention, don't use this grace period or take it for granted, right? You've been given an opportunity of a lifetime, man. But the majority of people, right, can't see the value in what we're doing right now, man. Right? They can't, they're too covered in that darkness, right? They're too engrossed in the ways of this this wicked system, right? To be able to see ahead of a righteous kingdom, man. You
Yep.
know?
Yep. So finishing out this John 3, I'll start back at 20 again. It says, "For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in Yahweh by Shem Yahushua." So what's coming to be found out is that the true believers of Yahweh by Shem Yahushua are coming back to him and worshiping him in spirit and truth. And the people that love the darkness, all right, they're coming up against us, man. And that line is being drawn in the sand to where the Lord is making it plain who is worship who is his true worshipers and who hates him. And all those that hate him are being marked.
Yep. There's only two sides, man. Right?
Mhm.
You either love the Lord or you hate the Lord. Right? And your actions are going to prove as such. You know, 2/3 are gonna continue to stay in that darkness, huddled up like the I Am Legend zombies, right? And, and the elect are gonna, like you read, right? That we run to that light, right? We're accepting of that light, right? We allow that light into our lives for the betterment of it, man, right? So that our deeds can be, you know, shown, and we can make the requisite adjustments, man, right? We can
Fact.
do what's required to become, more appealing in the eyes of Yahweh Shem Shai. We understand that this is all for our good. It might hurt for a time, right? But what's it? Hebrews 12th chapter. It talks about how that there's no chastening that that it feels grievous for a time, man, right? But it yielded the peaceable fruits of the spirit. You know,
Yeah, there's the chastening isn't joyous.
Come.
Yeah. I had a quick one. This is Luke 11 and 23 in the NLT. It says, who is anyone who isn't with me opposes me, and anyone who isn't working with me is actually working against me. So that's what you said. It's only two sides to this thing, man. It's
Mm-hmm.
either you're with the Lord or you're against him. Okay. And when you read it in the regular version, the King James version, it says, "He that is not with me is against me, and he that gathereth not with me scattereth." All right. So if you're either building with the Lord or you're tearing down, man. And if you're trying to tear down what he's building, all right, you're gonna find yourself, fighting against the Most High. And I always quote the Bishop Makai. Your arms are too short to box with the Most High, man. All right, he's gonna fuck you up, man. All right, you're gonna be looking like goddamn Ryan Garcia when Rose knocked his down, man.
Man, let
You
me
know,
get
so
the
it's simple, man. You're either of the elect or you're of the 2/3, man.
right.
And like I said, those sides are being shown. Okay, so
Mhm.
this is no laughing matter. This is no game. A lot of you niggas don't understand what you're involved in, man. You know,
Right. Hey, Jake want to stay. Going back to the masquerade, they want to stay behind the mask. They want to stay in the party, right? But the party has to come to an end at some point, man. Right? And what have you
yeah,
done, right? To prepare for once that's over. You know.
yeah. Hey, because you look at it, in the eyes of just in the world. We're talking about this. I think Wednesday. These Jakes that made their whole life, off of sports. And when that career ends and these niggas is like, yo, what am I gonna do with my life? That's really gonna be 2/3, but on a whole bigger scale when them demons are taken off of, man, they're seeing those nuclear missiles coming. It's like, look, you spent this is literally Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter.
Yep.
Once the Lord takes these demons off these people and they see that they spent a whole life in bullshit, and now that they're faced with their death, and it's just like, man, what have I done? That's scary.
Man. Whew. uh, this is Revelation 22 and 10. It reads, "And he saith unto me, Seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book, for the time is at hand. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still, and he which is filthy, let him be filthy still, and he that is righteous, let him be righteous still, and he that is holy, let him be holy still."
Mhm.
Verse 12, the point. "And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his works shall be."
Mm.
So you're going to be given according to what you sowed during this time, man. Right? What you planted. You know, the scriptures talk about the sluggard will not sow because of for reason of the cold, but will have no harvest. Roughly paraphrasing, man. Right? So you have to sow in the the correct spirit, man. These people are sowing to wickedness, right? So they're gonna reap judgment. The God, go ahead.
As you said it, might as well get it. So I was looking for it. This is Galatians 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Be not deceived. Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap.
Mhm.
For he that soweth to his flesh shall reap, it's like it shall of the flesh reap corruption. But he that soweth to the spirit shall of the spirit reap life everlasting.
Exactly. And we're all being given the opportunity to sow, right? Now, are you sowing to righteousness, or are you sowing to wickedness, man? Are you sowing to the flesh, or are you sowing to the spirit? You know, are you storing up those treasures in heaven, or are you trying to store up treasures right in these earthen places, man? Right? That's the mark of the delineation, that draw that line in the sand, right? It's like, whose side are you on? Right? Do you want to stay in the state of mirth and the party and the bullshit spirit, or do you want to come into the house of mourning, right? With the understanding that you have a power that's going to redeem you right from that mourning, man. You know?
One more. This is Proverbs chapter 1, verse 31. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices.
You got
Right. Because at the end of the day, man, if you want to continue to live in delusion, the Lord is going to give you away to your own devices, man, and that's going to eventually lead to your destruction. I made a video off a point that Elder Manatazak said at his camp last week about how the Lord pretty much has your lot set from the beginning. And whatever path that you are set on, the Lord is going to put, the things in your walk to help get you to the end result. All right. So, like we said earlier, it's only two things. You're either of the elect or you're a 2/3. And if you're of the elect, no matter what path that you take, it's going to lead to you getting salvation. But if you're of the 2/3, you're going to be led to your destruction, and the Lord's going to give you away to your own devices, man. All right. So, hey, the best thing you can do is pray to Yahweh Shem Shah that we're of the elect, man. Because
Right.
what we're doing, all right, is a service that only a select number of Israelites were called to do, and we pray that we're chosen to finish the race, man.
Right.
Because we see the lights about to come on, man. All
Yep.
right, and hey, when them lights come on, you gonna wish that you left the party long time ago, man. Because the lights that I'm referring to are those nuclear missiles that's gonna light the sky up. It's gonna darken the sky, and then because just like when the party's over and the lights just they snap on like that, you're gonna see that those fire, that wave of fire coming, and you're gonna get melted, man.
Yep.
So it's best because hey, I reference this. All of us have been in this situation. All right, you're at a party, and it's your gut is telling you, I need to leave. Something's about to happen. Jake ignoring that feeling, they they dancing on some cheeks. They're trying to get some numbers. They in there vibing, but in your gut, it's something's telling you, bro. Something's off, man. I think I need to go, and then it don't be too late. Nigga let off shots. Somebody start fighting. The police
Mhm.
kick the door in, and they start grabbing people up. It be some bullshit. You already know how it is when you party with niggas, you know.
Right.
But you're in the biggest party when the ultimate nigga, which is the devil, Esau. He's the original nigger with the hard ER, man.
Right.
And he got you niggas just dancing. You don't you niggas in that Terry Crews from White Chicks with the fucking glow sticks doing that bullshit. Niggas is
Right.
completely oblivious to shit, man. So
Yep.
the Lord gonna have to turn that light on for you, but it's gonna be too late when he do it, man. You
Exactly.
know?
Yeah. Esau gave you all the party favors, right? He gonna just everything impossible to keep you in that trance, man, to keep you in that spirit, you know? Meanwhile, like the scriptures talk about how there's no enchantment against Jacob, right? So the elect are waking up out of this and leaving, right? Like you said, they're feeling that spirit in their stomach, and they're escaping this party, right? They're fleeing Babylon, in the spirit, and and Lord willing, we continue, right? We'll that'll lead to our salvation, man. We've separated ourselves, right, from those who are about to be destroyed. You know,
Uh,
um, that was all I had, pretty much. Unless you had anything else.
nah, that's pretty much it.
Let me see.
Let's see.
I'll
That's
close with this.
kind.
It's First Thessalonians 5 and verse 21. Prove all things, hold fast to that which is good. You
Mm,
know,
that's
so
good.
everything is being proven right now, right? Whether it's good or bad, right? And you're being shown what is good through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai on his men, right? Through these video epistles, through the camp teachings, So hold fast to that, right? Hold on to it with dear life, right? Because this could be your last chance, man. You know.
Hey,
So,
he's giving you a chance. Like you said,
yep,
everybody has been given the same chance to get themselves together. I got one more for you. You can break it
yeah,
down. This is Proverbs chapter 8, verse 36. But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All they that hate me love death. Matter of fact, I start up a verse.
kind of,
35. For whoso findeth me findeth life, it shall obtain favor of the Lord. But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All that hate me love death.
right? We found the Lord, man. He made himself known unto us, rather, right? So we found the life. We have it's up to us to continue in this thing, man. Right? To continue to pray that the Lord keep his spirit on us, that we may endure unto the end. But the rest, they love death, man. They want to die. You know, it's a hard thing to come to grips with, when you first come into this thing, to understand that these people are doing what they're doing because they want to die. You know, that their spirits are crying out, right? And the Lord is soon come, gonna grant that wish, man. You know,
Man, that's a great point. That is very true, man. Our people, they live a death lifestyle because that's really what they want. Because the opportunity for you to get life, they don't want to do it because it's too hard.
right,
Just look at Jake that have these debilitating health issues. All you got to do is just something as simple as change your diet up, exercise, and people don't want to even do something like that, bro. So how much more when it comes to actually changing your ways for the Lord, man.
Exactly, man. Hey, it's a beautiful thing to have this, man.
Right.
You know,
It is.
like we said earlier, man. It's the greatest opportunity you could ever hope to have, man. You know, it's just you got to continue to pray, right, that the Lord keep you, man.
That's right.
But you know, Lord, one of us edifying through the Spirit and probably how about Shemal Shai. We're gonna close by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh,
Yahweh, Bashem,
by Hashem,
Yahushua, Bashem,
God.
Hakwadash.
Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect pushing this word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.